This is the Louie T Network.
In the lab room.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome. You are in the lab room. I, of course, am your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 4 in the National Football League. Indianapolis Colts hosting the Tennessee Titans. AFC South family business. A little murky behind me, little pixelation going on. It's my first time with this live feed, so you gotta excuse me for the mess. Look, I'm trying to get this product out as fast as possible and be as efficient as possible. The best way to do that is through a live feed. So what I'm trying to do is get this thing underway. You know, you gotta start somewhere. This is my humble beginnings, so excuse me for the mess. I'll clean it up eventually, but right now it is what it is. Just focus on the product that I'm giving you, man. And it's Titans, it's Colts. Let's talk about week 4 and this matchup, a huge one in the AFC South. Both of these teams come into the game at 1-2, looking to get back to 500. If you're the Indianapolis Colts, it's been pretty rough starting out the season. You may have been robbed in week 2 versus the Eagles. You may not have been. Doesn't matter. You've found a way to kind of navigate your way through that rough period, and now you can get back to 500 on the season with a win at home in a division versus the Tennessee Titans. If you're the Titans, you start out the season like gangbusters, going on the road and devouring the Kansas City Chiefs, only to lose 2 consecutive games, one at home to Dallas. You go back out on the road and lose again last week. So now, if you're the Tennessee Titans, you're asking yourself, who are we? No, seriously, who are we? You go and you get dismantled by Cincinnati last week, and now you got a lot of questions and no Jake Locker in this game. It's funny. A lot of people calling for the head of Jake Locker, and rightfully so. Jake has not played good football, but now you get a taste of life without Jake Locker. And I know, I understand. Charlie White Shoes is not the future in Tennessee, but I've got a question to ask Tennessee Titans fans out there that are watching. I'm looking for an answer. I'll ask you that at the end of this breakdown, but let's jump into this quickly. Again, not a lot here. This was a blowout, and I'm gonna chronicle a lot of these mistakes. This is how you lose a football game 41-17. You ready? Here we go. Bad start for the Titans. Kendall Wright fumbles and the Colts. And you only try an onside kick for 2 reasons, okay? One of 2 reasons, desperation or confidence. And the Indianapolis Colts were supremely confident in this game. They tried an onside kick. It worked. They got the football back. So you couple the Kendall Wright fumble, which led to a touchdown, with the onside kick, which led to another touchdown. It's 14-0, just like that. On the road, Tennessee, you're struggling. No starting quarterback. Charlie White Shoes at the helm, and you're already down 14-0. Then Justin Hunter, who I think is your best receiver, the guy that has the most talent and ability to become a number 1 on your football team, well, he can't handle a Charlie White Shoes offering. Yeah, it was a little high, but Justin 6'4" with an arm. Justin 6'4" with a wingspan that's, I don't know, out of this world. I think he should have caught the football, to be honest with you. He should have caught the football. But it tips off his hands. It's picked off by Adams, the safety. Colts are in business. That leads to a field goal. And look, Derek Morgan has an easy interception in his hands. And again, you're making that switch from a 4-3 to a 3-4. Guys got to stand up there out of position. He's one of those guys making a transition from defensive end to outside linebacker. Ball hits him right in his hands. He drops the football. Colts get a field goal off of that. It's 17-0. These are the type of plays you got to make when you're on the road if you want to win. Simple as that. Justin Hunter has to catch the football. Nate Washington can't drop a touchdown. Can't happen. You want to win on the road against the Indianapolis Colts? Can't have a fumble by Kendall Wright on the first possession. You can't have the ball carry him off of Justin Hunter's fingertips and into the hands of a Colt defender. You can't drop an easy interception that Andrew Luck throws you right in your hands. and Nate Washington can't drop the football in the end zone for a touchdown. And you got to settle for a field goal. Can't happen. All of those things end up 17-3. It ends up being 20-10 at the half, and the Colts just run away with the game in the second half, put up 21 points. You only score 7, you lose the game 41-17. That's how you lose the game right there. Now, I look at it like this. This game was a microcosm of your season if you're the Tennessee Titans, because there are a lot of questions. And coming into the season, the question was, who is Jake Locker? I already said I thought this defense would struggle because there's a mandatory year of struggle. That's what I call it. Mandatory year of struggle when you make a scheme switch. When you switch defensive philosophies from a 4-3 to a 3-4, 3-4 to a 4-3, whatever you're doing, when you make that kind of switch, you get left with parts that don't fit or guys making an adjustment. And that's what you're doing. So I expected some struggle on defense. Offensively, you were supposed to be okay. And the reason you were supposed to be okay is because Jake Locker was supposed to take that step. Now, with a head coach with an offensive background and a track record for doing good work with quarterbacks, you expected him to be able to pick up the slack. He has not done that. So now the question I pose to you, Tennessee Titans fans, is it time yet? Is it time for Zach Mettenberger? Is it time for Zach Met yet? That's the question. Is it time for Zach Met yet? I've talked to a Tennessee Titans fan, my man Bam, and he says no. As much as you want to rush this process, we can't put him in the game. Remember, he's coming off of an ACL injury, and even though he did some good things in the preseason, I don't think we need to put him out there yet. I don't think he's ready. We need to solidify this offensive line. We need to do some things. We don't need to put him out there yet. Okay, so I know how Bam feels. How about the rest of you Titans fans? How do you feel? Is it Zach Met time yet? Is it Zach Met yet? Is that time come? Or do you need to continue to stay the course with Jake Locker? And I've heard another Titans fan, and his input on this was, hey, let's sit Jake down. We know who he is. He's not the guy in Tennessee anymore. Let's move on, and let's see if Zach Mettenberger can be the guy, because if he's not, we need to spend our first-round pick next year on a quarterback and just move on. How do you feel? How do you feel? I want to know how Titans fans feel. Because it's a dilemma in Tennessee right now, because I don't think this team is going to do much of anything this season. And the quarterback position is the position that's going to hold you back. So either you got the guy on the roster or you don't. If you're asking my personal opinion, I feel like you don't throw the season away yet. It's still too early. So you go with the guy that gives you the best opportunity to win. And once you feel like, okay, this season is done, then you can put in Zach Mettenberger. If you feel like, okay, we want to see what this guy's about. I don't think you do that after week 4, though. I think you put the quarterback in, if that's Jake Locker, which it is, that gives you the best chance to win, and you run with that guy until that's run its course. And then when you're 2-8 in week number 11, then, week 12, then you say, all right, it's Zach Mettenberger time. Let's see what he's about. But right now, I don't think that's the case. You keep trying to win football games. You can't have this team quit on you by just throwing up the white flag and putting in Zach Mettenberger. I don't think that's the answer here. I think you got to do right by the rest of this roster and keep Jake Locker in as starting quarterback. So I want to hear from Titans fans, though. And that's just my opinion. I want to hear from the Titans fans. Now, Colts, big win. That's the way you do it impressively at the house against a team that's struggling. They're having an identity crisis in Tennessee. That's not your problem. You go out and dominate that team. That's what you did. Looks good to me. Andrew Luck spread the football around. 8 different receivers, had 3 or more catches in this game. Hey, that's what I'm talking about, Indianapolis. Big win at home. You're now back to 500 on the season. And you're starting to sniff around first place in that division. I'm not buying the Houston Texans. I fully expect you to come and take what's rightfully yours. And that's the top spot in this division. I expect to see you there very soon. Big win in very convincing fashion, 41-17, as you get back to 500 on the season. That's going to do it for Titans Colts. I thank you for joining me. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me, as I've got plenty more games to break down in week number 4 in the National Football League season. in a bit.
Like the